Hello, welcome to another edition of Chamber Chat. I'm Dr. Vail Garvin, President and CEO of the Central Bucks Chamber of Commerce. We have with us today Steve Noll, Executive Director of the Transportation Management Association. Welcome, Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Vail. Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad that you're here today. In preparation for our little chat, I was looking up what the Transportation Management Association does. But for our business leaders that maybe aren't in the know, would you fill us in?
Well, the short version of it is our mission as a nonprofit transportation management association is to reduce the amount of traffic on Bucks County's roads, particularly during peak congestion times.
Well, you're getting that now with COVID.
Certainly, and the COVID provided a great example of what happens when you remove cars from the road during rush hour, because the comment from virtually everyone who had to be out was, it takes so much less time to get where I need to go. The roads are not congested. Now, of course, that was for not the greatest reason,
Right.
but we also noticed lots of anecdotal instances on social media sharing of environmental improvements, people showing pictures of mountain ranges that hadn't been able to be seen from a distance for years because of the improvement in air quality that results.
That's interesting.
Fewer vehicles idling in
Yeah.
place. You know, a vehicle idling in place gets 0 miles per gallon. So our aim is to not expand the infrastructure necessarily, but to find ways to make more efficient use of our transportation infrastructure, not only so that people can move more quickly and more efficiently, but also goods and services for the benefit of businesses, because when it's easier to conduct business in Bucks County, those businesses stay in Bucks County, they grow in Bucks County, and
That's a good
ultimately
point.
invest in Bucks County.
Right. How has COVID actually affected your association, and how do you see that tying in with our business community?
Well, our association has, not intentionally, but we've been preparing for something like this
Have
for
you?
probably close to 20 years, even though we didn't
Wow.
realize we were preparing for it. Because we've been trying to take measures in our own office, and as technology's developed, it's become even easier. We've been developing our technology so that we ask the question, if we couldn't physically be in our office, could we conduct some or all of our business from remote locations, either our home, a satellite office, or even when we're on the road at conferences? So it's been really kind of a 20-year experiment to determine how can we do work without physically being at work. So when something like this hit, it was a matter of me on Friday saying, work from home on Monday, and we were sufficiently prepared. Now, it has impacted us in how we do business, because there are certain programs. We have many programs funded through the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for congestion, what they call congestion mitigation strategies, getting cars off the road. And when there's no cars on the roads, all of a sudden there's pullback on marketing campaigns.
Funds?
Any kind. No, not funds. Not
Okay.
funds, fortunately.
Good.
Because the assumption has been for us, and the going assumption in general has been, eventually this is going to end. And so we switched gears a little bit, so to speak. We switched gears a little bit. And instead of saying, don't drive your car to work, try working from home, try taking public transportation, it changed to, how can we keep people that have suddenly found themselves working from home continuing to work from home after the pandemic is over? Because anyone who's gotten into their car, chances are, after having been home for a while, if they had to return to work, they found themselves sitting in their car going, why am I doing this? I'm driving 15, 20, 30, 60 minutes to get to a place where I can do exactly what I could have started an hour ago at my house.
Right.
And so the questions start to arise. The employees start to ask the employers, and the employers find themselves in a situation, well, that's a good question. Why are we doing this? And furthermore, a supervisor or someone who came into their office while all of the employees were working remotely would wander around looking at all this empty office space, going, we're doing business, we're conducting our business, why are we paying all this rent and
Right.
sucking money out of our bottom line? So they're rethinking, and the employers are rethinking how much space they take up and how they conduct business,
Are you
because they're
seeing
realizing
that
the
in
remote model is
Bucks
good.
County with a decrease in office space? Has that evolved yet, or are we on the road to that?
I think we're on the road to that. Personally, I think it's too premature, because we're still in the midst of this, even though I think we've gotten used to it, whereas it was new and kind of
Still got our
scary and
mask.
novel. Still got our masks. Yes, indeed. Got
Love
our
your
masks.
Penn State mask.
Thank you. Have to represent. But we're still in the midst of this, so businesses are still trying to figure out, sometimes on a day-to-day basis. I half joke that my planning horizon right now is about a day and a half, because I don't know what directive is going to come tomorrow. I don't know what new rules or what change in the numbers is going to come tomorrow. So a lot of businesses are taking a wait-and-see approach. They still have the empty space, and they're thinking about, okay, if this ends tomorrow, what are we going to do? So if this pandemic were to end, say 3 months from now, maybe optimistically, but let's say 3 months from now, I think in 6 months you'd start to see a paradigm shift in how employers are conducting business, because things have settled down. I don't have to explain that most businesses don't want to make decisions in times of extreme uncertainty.
Right.
But once things settle down, I think you're going to see a change in the amount of available office space. You may see a glut of available office space, because I'm aware of companies, not necessarily in Bucks County and other places, they're talking reducing from 6 floors to 2 floors. They're talking from reducing from 5 suites to 1 suite. So I can understand why property management companies would be concerned, but I definitely think you'll see some changes in the price of office space and the availability of office space.
That'd be something to watch.
Definitely.
Definitely something to watch. What about buses? I'm assuming riding is down, and I'm wondering how you sterilize or keep them clean to make them safe for your riders.
Well,
could you talk to us a little about that?
I do know that the services are operating. I do know that
Okay.
Bucks County Transport is taking very careful cleaning, sterilization, social distancing measures, just as any other transit agency would. Because the fact is, those are vital services, and SEPTA
Right.
is a vital service. And for the medical professionals and those that have to be out on the roads, that's still vitally important, especially because
Critical.
you can't necessarily just go and buy a car because suddenly there's a pandemic. You can't take transit away. It's a vital, it's a public utility, and it's just as vital as electricity, water, anything else that wouldn't go away in a situation like that.
What do you see about the joint riding to work? Has that dropped off?
It's dropped off considerably, mostly because people aren't driving to work.
Okay.
You can't share a ride that isn't happening.
Okay.
But going forward, again, it's similar to the employer view on office space. I think a lot of employees are waiting to see what happens. They're waiting to see what their employers do. You may see people that have been carpooling for years suddenly working from home, in which case that ride share goes away. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because 2 or 3 people sharing a ride is still 1 vehicle on the road, whereas those same 2 or 3 people working from home is 0 vehicles on the road and 0 emissions into the atmosphere.
Before we close, is there anything that you would particularly like the business community to know that we haven't chatted about right this minute?
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Go for it.
Great. Now we have a telecommuting guidebook that's available on our website.
Is it out now?
It is, and it's been downloaded as of a couple days ago. It's been downloaded by more than 600 businesses.
That's impressive.
I was surprised, actually, pleasantly surprised. At tmabucks.com is our website, and they can download that guidebook there, and it's very basic. Teleworking and remote working, as you'll hear it called, is more than simply, okay, work from home, here's your computer. There are human resources angles to consider.
I was going to ask you what's in the guide.
We keep it very basic because, in terms of especially legal matters, there's no references to legal matters, because you should always consult your attorney with regard to personnel matters. But there's questions of how to choose those employees that will work from home. Obviously, you want someone who's independent and can function on their own and has a good reputation. How to choose those employees. How to inform the employees that weren't chosen why. and how it increases the morale of your employees, because someone who can get working at 7 o'clock in the morning instead of hopping in the car may do so. Employees may take fewer sick days. They may be more productive. So it talks a lot, and it dispels a lot of the myths about.
I'll have to get a copy.
Yes, indeed. And it dispels a lot of the myths about telecommuting, and also shares some of the facts. There's environmental benefits, there are bottom line benefits, and there are bottom line benefits that go beyond just a direct business. Like someone says, well, a restaurant, you can't telecommute. No, that's true. Wait staff and
Right.
cooks are not going to telecommute to a restaurant. However, if the person who lives up the street from your restaurant is suddenly telecommuting instead of driving to work, and has another $100 and $150 of disposable income suddenly available because they're not buying gas, that person will possibly walk down the street and eat at your restaurant. So the economic impacts are very far-reaching, and it's something that employers and businesses should seek to be leaders on. A lot of times, oh, that's a great idea for someone else to do. No, you be the leader, and start and help others to follow along. And we can realize the free-flowing traffic and better air quality that we've seen during the unfortunate COVID-19 pandemic.
You have to write an article on this for our W4 magazine.
I can do that. I'd be happy to.
I'd love to have that, and maybe we'll take down a couple copies of it and put it in the upstairs reception area. Steve Noll from the Transportation Management Association, thank you so much for being here for another edition of Chamber Chat. Before I go, I'd like to thank our videographer, Tom Brunt. Once again, he just got back from videoing the U.S. tennis tournament, so he's quite a pro. Thank you, and we'll see you at the next Chamber Chat on the street.